Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Kayla, and this week I'm talking about a trip I recently took to Seattle. So for those of you who don't know me personally, I actually grew up in the Puget Sound area, which is what they call the general region around Seattle. So the Puget Sound is the body of water that comes in from the ocean in Washington. Anyways, I'm not going to give you a geography lesson. My point is, I have gone to Seattle many times in my life, but this was the first time that I really was a legitimate tourist for a few days, and it was a lot of fun. And I know that if you are not very aware of Seattle, there's a reputation for a lot of rain, a lot of traffic, a lot of hills, but it's really such a great place to visit and something that I think should be on everyone's list. So let's get into it. I did not have a car with me while I was in Seattle. My mom actually took the bus up from where she lives in Tacoma and met me at the airport, and then we took the light rail into Seattle itself. So it's really nice that you can literally walk out into the parking garage at the airport, take a left, walk a little bit, and you are at the light rail station. And that station will take you so many places. It'll take you to Seattle. It'll take you all the way into Redmond now, which, if you don't know, is where like Nintendo of America is. It'll take you to Bellevue. It can take you up a decent amount north of Seattle as well. And then there's a lot of stops around downtown Seattle, which is wonderful. So got off my plane, met up with my mom, took the light rail into Seattle. And then where did I even stay? I honestly, do I remember? Such a good question. The Westin. I'll be honest with you. This trip was over a month ago, and I've done a lot of traveling since then, but I'm wanting to make sure that I recap this. And it was a really good time. So I took the light rail from SeaTac into the city. You can also then, once you're in the city, if you want, you can take the monorail. There's the streetcar. There's a lot of buses. And you can also take ride shares, although I will say they are very expensive comparatively to other places if you're in Seattle trying to get a ride share. If you're wanting to day trip outside of Seattle, like let's say you want to go out to Snoqualmie Falls or go see Mount Rainier, you will want to have a car for those things. But I was specifically focusing my time and energy on being in downtown Seattle, so I did not have a vehicle at all. And I really had a great time. So I was there over Easter weekend with my mom, and we had a fantastic meal down on the waterfront where there was all-you-could-eat crab at their buffet. And if you like crab, the Pacific Northwest and Alaska are the places to go for crab. So there was all-you-could-eat crab, there was shrimp, there was clam chowder, all of these foods that I associate with the Pacific Northwest specifically. And it really just sort of reminded me of home. The weather was also beautiful the entire time I was in Seattle. It was in the mid to low 60s and sun shining. Our room had a view of the water, and we could see the monorail, which was really cool because we were actually staying essentially across the street from where the monorail departs at Westlake Center. And it was nice. It was nice to be in the thick of it all, knowing that I could easily get wherever I wanted to go with just a quick walk. I will say that if you've ever been to San Francisco, the hills in Seattle probably won't bother you nearly as much as they will if you've never been to San Francisco or somewhere along the lines of Seattle with their hills. And it is a workout. So if you're wanting to go to Pike Place Market and you are staying in the downtown Seattle area, you will be going downhill to get to Pike Place Market, which means you will have to come back up the hill when you are done. And if you are wanting to go to the waterfront, you will be going downhill even more. The nice thing is, if you're wanting to get from Pike Place to the waterfront, it is relatively accessible. You will be able to find elevators. There are stairs. There are ramps. There's a variety of ways to get from one place to the other, which I do think is really important. And it's something that they really prioritized when they tore down what was the Alaska Way Viaduct, which was essentially a road that could help you connect from one side of downtown Seattle to the other. They tore it down a couple of years ago, did a huge reconstruction, and now it's all this beautiful green area, lots of sprawling views of the sound. And in that area, they've also expanded the aquarium, but there's tons of stairs, tons of seating, elevators, ramps. Like I said, it is an accessible place. So if you're like, I'm bringing a stroller, I don't know how hard this is going to be to get around, just know that it will be relatively easy for you. You just might have to take like 5 elevators to get yourself back up to the bulk of downtown Seattle. So it's a very walkable place. You can take the monorail, like I mentioned, over to Seattle Center. And then once you're over there, that's actually where the Space Needle is. That's where the Pacific Science Center is. That's where you're going to find the Chihuly Glass Museum. There's a lot of things in that general area. And then from there, you can also walk to further destinations, which is really nice. It's when the weather is nice in Seattle, it's a glorious place to be. The unfortunate thing is, if you don't pick the right time of year to go to Seattle, you might be miserable, because in the summertime, it is now getting very hot. You can expect temperatures in the 90s, close to 100. It is a humid place to be, and it does rain a lot. So I lucked out that I was there in April, and while my time in Seattle was beautiful, I then went to Tacoma and I went to Portland and had rain. So I do think that Mother Nature was showing off and reminding me how beautiful it can be, because the last time that I took a trip to the Puget Sound, it did rain, and that was unfortunate. And I didn't see Mount Rainier at all because it was hiding behind clouds. But Seattle is a place to go for food. It's a place to go where you can find a neighborhood that fits your vibe, because no two neighborhoods in Seattle are the same. If you like coffee, there's fantastic coffee. If you're wanting to just like go for a nice walk, great place to do that. If you want to get out in nature, like I said, you can rent a car and do that as well. It really just, it's a good place to go. I'm obviously a little bit biased because of the fact that that is where I was born and raised, but I really liked being in the middle of the city and having the ability to just get places really easily. So I was debating where I wanted to stay. If you don't know, I'm a Marriott Bonvoy girl, and I chose the Westin, which I had stayed at once before many years ago for work when I was going to a marketing conference, and it was close-ish to the conference. So I decided I wanted to stay there again. It was myself and my mother, and she's never stayed there before. And it's 2 towers. There's a south tower and a north tower, and you've got wonderful views in pretty much any direction. The room itself is sort of a round shape because the building itself is a circle. So it was a little weird in terms of the shape of the room, but we had more than enough space. It had 2 queen beds, or maybe they were fulls. Anyways, we had 2 beds. There was one of us in each bed. There was a Starbucks, not a Starbucks, but a coffee shop serving Starbucks beverages in the lobby, as well as a restaurant and a bar. If you have status with Bonvoy, there is not a lounge, but you do get food and beverage benefits and drinks, which was nice. Coffee drinks, that is, specifically. And one thing that I really liked was there were a handful of different amenities that we got access to without an additional fee, because it was included in our destination fee. So we went on an Argosy cruise for free, which I've never done before. In all of my time being in Seattle, I've seen the Argosy cruises out on the water, but I've never done one myself. So it was really fun to get to go and experience that for myself. Again, the weather was beautiful. Also, the concierge at the hotel let us know that there are certain sailings of the day that are happy hour sailings, which meant that drinks were on sale. So that was fun. It was just nice to get to experience this place that for me, is home in a way that was very touristy. Like we went and walked all around Seattle Center, took in the views. We got to wander around Pacific Science Center, not going inside, but now you can actually enter their entire outdoor area without having to have admission, which did not used to be the case. So that was really nice because, again, you've got some great views of the Space Needle. I will say, if you are afraid of heights, the Space Needle may not be the best visit for you. Go look at it, see how beautiful it is. But they recently, within the last decade, actually redid the floor of the Space Needle. So it's a glass bottom. And I don't know about you, but me personally, I will never be going up there again because I'm terrified of heights and I don't want to be standing on a glass floor that high above the ground. But it's really cool. Seattle Center is also where Experience Music, it's not called Experience Music Project anymore. What was formerly Experience Music Project and is now MoPop, Museum of Pop Culture, is also at Seattle Center. I've been there a handful of times. It's a lot of fun. If you're really into music, especially like the Seattle music scene, like grunge, Jimi Hendrix, that kind of thing, it's really cool. They always have rotating exhibits. I'm a Disney girl, as you know, and they've had some really cool Disney exhibits there before. They had the Muppets a while back. That was really cool. So there's really a lot to do in Seattle depending on what you're interested in. But like I said, great food, great culture. There's a neighborhood for everyone. If you're wanting coffee, if you're wanting seafood, these are things that you can absolutely get in Seattle. If you like a hard cider, I love a hard cider. You can get that in Seattle very easily. There's also really great wines, and you could take a day trip to Woodinvill to go to the wineries if you wanted to. Like there's just so many things you can do. And like I mentioned, you really don't need to have a car, which is nice. But if you do have a car, keep in mind that parking will be expensive. And parts of downtown Seattle actually are not car friendly at all. There are streets that are only for buses or streets that are only for pedestrians. So keep that in mind. But I really highly recommend Seattle if you've never been. I love like an early summer or late summer, early fall trip. Keeping in mind you might get some rain and it might be a little chillier than you expected, but that's better than it being way too hot or only raining. So keep that in mind. It's definitely a place that requires a little bit of planning, but if you need help with that, I am absolutely happy to help you. Definitely put Seattle on your list. And until next time, let's just go.